Other people transmigrate into noble ladies or princesses. This girl, however, transmigrated into the role of a child stepmother. Not only does she have a hideous husband and son, but he's also a confinement-loving lunatic. After a day of freaking out, Liar finally accepted this reality. "Who's there?" Liar awkwardly emerged to greet him. Unexpectedly, the little boy completely ignored her. He turned to leave, such a good opportunity. Liar didn't want to miss it. She immediately crouched down and grabbed her son's sleeve. The little boy blushed and stared at Liar. "Don't bother her." The heartwarming reunion Liar had envisioned took a decidedly different turn. However, Lady Fennel looked much healthier than the last time Liar had seen her. "Yes, and it's all thanks to you." After this remark, the Duchess instructed her daughter to greet people politely before speaking. The obedient girl immediately took her mother's words to heart. Not only that, but Nia also apologized to Katie right away. "I understand how you feel, young Duke. Can you forgive me? You already apologized to my mother, so it's okay. I promised my mother I would take care of you, but I scared you instead." Nia's face brightened at Katie's response. She took his hand. "I'm so glad you're the second friend my age I've made. We're gonna have so much fun today." Katie, though outwardly displeased at having his hand held by a girl, didn't pull away. The two children exchanged names, and Katie even allowed Nia to call him by his nickname. Watching them walk away, Liar knew her son was smitten with Nia. Now only the two women remained. Lady Fennel had many questions for Liar. They made their way to the meeting hall. "Before I ask anything," Lady Fennel began, "I want to thank you personally because you're not just the Duchess, you're also a kind fairy." Katie, meanwhile, was completely captivated by his little fiancé, even feeling a pang of jealousy over who was his mother's favorite. Back in the meeting hall, Lady Fennel continued to express her gratitude to Liar. "My dream was to see Nia grow up," she confessed, "but with my health failing, it's thanks to the flowers Liar sent." Suddenly, with the air of a little adult, he crossed his arms. "If you're getting indigestion from being tired, don't eat with father." Liar, thinking it was just concern, smiled and explained, "I'll get used to it." Lady Fennel continued, "That I'm able to go out with my daughter like this." Liar's thoughts drifted to the tragic fate of Lady Fennel's family in her previous life. She remembered how deeply Lady Fennel loved her daughter. "I believe anyone who knew about your situation would have helped," Liar replied softly. However, Lady Fennel was puzzled. To outsiders, she simply appeared frail. Few knew the true nature of her illness. How did Liar know? In the original story, Nia had inherited the same illness from her mother. Katie had scoured the entire continent to find a cure for her. Unable to reveal the truth, Liar quickly fabricated an excuse. "You don't seem naturally weak," she said, "but rather as though you're suffering from some kind of ailment. I happen to hear that moonflowers can draw toxins from the body." Hearing Liar's words, Lady Fennel felt a surge of emotion. "You've given me hope again," she whispered. "Now I can watch my daughter grow up and enjoy all the things she loves while the mothers envisioned a bright future." The two children had already made their way to the courtyard. Chatty Nia trailed behind Katie, chattering incessantly. Her constant stream of questions was starting to annoy him. Despite this, he led her to his secret dessert spot. The servants, well prepared, quickly brought out tea, cakes, and other treats as soon as the children sat down. The young Duke had already won over Miss Nia's heart, faced with a gaggle of servants practically giddy with the burgeoning romance. Katie blushed. Nia, intrigued by the desserts, eagerly picked up a strawberry cake and took a bite. Katie's face darkened. "You're saying you'll still eat with him?" Liar groaned inwardly. "I don't want to either." Katie watched her quietly from across the table, thinking to himself that Nia was quite cute when she was quiet. Noticing a smudge of frosting on her cheek, he politely offered her his handkerchief. Nia, realizing her lack of manners, felt a pang of embarrassment. She had wanted to be as elegant as a lady, but she'd messed up. Seeing her distress, Katie quickly reassured her. "We're just kids," he said. "We don't have to act like grown-ups." Nia was touched by the boy's unexpected kindness. He might seem aloof, but he was sweet, just like the Duchess. Katie's cheeks flushed at the comparison. Being compared to his mother, however, pleased him. The girl clearly had good taste. She was innocent, naive, and altogether unique. His pleasant thoughts were interrupted by her next words. "You're my only friend my age besides Riddy's," she declared. "His mother and my mother are good friends, so we see each other a lot. Riddy's is very kind." "I love playing with him," Katie bristled. "Do you tell everyone you love them?" he asked, a hint of annoyance in his voice. Nia quickly explained that she didn't. "It's just that it's always fun when I'm with Riddy's." Her sweet smile momentarily stunned Katie. "It's all for you," Katie unexpectedly yelled. "Aren't you supposed to be with father? Will dinner time always be like this from now on?" With that, he ran off. Liar immediately realized that the little boy might be jealous of his father. He felt a surge of inexplicable anger. How dare she talk about how much she liked Radi's right in front of him? Nia, finally realizing Katie's displeasure, reached out and patted his head consolingly. Whenever I'm upset, my mother does this and I feel much better. Don't you like head pets? Katie's mind was in turmoil, but he maintained a calm facade, rejecting her comfort. Despite his outward indifference, he had completely fallen for this unique girl. Seeing the two children getting along so well, Lyre and Daisy exchanged pleased glances. Their normally aloof son had actually invited Nia to visit again, even promising to have strawberry cake ready for her. Katie himself couldn't understand why he felt this way around Nia. He was utterly flustered by her cheerful and outgoing personality. Nia suddenly leaned closer. "Why don't you call me by my name?" she asked. "We're friends now. You can call me Nia." Flushing crimson, the little duke stammered out the girl's name. The maidservants watching from afar were practically swooning. By then, the two children realized it was getting late. Nia, taking Katie's hand, pulled him along to find their mothers. The two duchesses bid each other a warm farewell while Nia asked Katie if she could come play again. The little duke's reply was unexpected. "I'll have the chef prepare strawberry cake for your arrival," he declared. Lyre breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed the tragic events of the original storyline wouldn't come to pass. A few days later, early in the morning, Lyre was roused from sleep. Peeking through the window, she saw Daisy and Katie armed with holy water and expressions of unwavering determination. She recalled Daisy's words from a few days prior. She hadn't expected them to actually be spraying holy water everywhere, and not just with a small vial, but with large bottles each. She rushed forward and hugged the upset Katie. "To me, Katie, you're the most important. The time I spend with you is more precious than with anyone else." While the Duke's mansion was wealthy, this seemed excessive. Stepping outside, she encountered a guard stationed at her door, surprised to see her up so early. Lyre explained that she'd been awakened by the commotion and wanted to investigate. The guard then produced his own small vial of holy water, explaining that all the servants were engaged in a holy water cleansing. Seeing the guard's nearly empty vial, Lyre realized he too had been participating. "Of course, madam," the guard replied, "we can't allow anything untoward to befall you." "Honestly, I'm not sure if this counts as a waste of money," he confessed, "but I simply had to be a part of it." Lyre was touched by the loyalty of her household staff. "Is there any holy water left?" she inquired. The guard assumed she wanted to join in the cleansing. "No," Lyre clarified. "I just hate to see such expensive, holy water wasted on the floor." Understanding her concern, the guard promised to send the remaining holy water to her room. Meanwhile, Daisy and Katie continued their enthusiastic purification efforts. Seeing their zeal, Lyre quickly slipped away, lest she be recruited into their holy water crusade. Suddenly, touching her bare neck, she realized she hadn't seen her mother's necklace in a while. She vaguely remembered trading it to a witch, but the details were hazy. A nagging feeling persisted that things shouldn't be this peaceful. She couldn't quite place the missing piece of her memory. Her thoughts were interrupted by her husband's voice. He still had a knack for appearing out of nowhere. The Duke explained he was just about to leave on some business. Looking at her silent son, she thought he still disliked her, but the next second he hugged her back. "But more importantly," he added, "you seem troubled. As something happened, you don't have to bear it alone. I'm your husband, you can tell me anything." Hearing this, the aide practically rocketed out of the room, calling back, "Don't worry, master. Take your time and talk with madam." The Duke chuckled. "I didn't ask him to do that," he remarked. "But for me, nothing is more important than you. Are you angry with me?" He asked tentatively. Seeing her husband's vulnerable expression, Lyre quickly assured him she wasn't. Unwilling to burden him further with her memory issues, she fabricated an excuse. "I don't like the way you address me," she declared. This little couple and their games. Afraid of worrying her husband further about her memory lapses, Lyre feigned displeasure with how he addressed her. "I recently met a noble woman," she explained, "and her husband never simply calls her by her name." The Duke, momentarily stunned, quickly recovered and asked what kind of pet name she'd prefer. This was working out perfectly. Blushing, Lyre offered a few suggestions like "my dearest sweetheart" or "my precious." She murmured, "Please choose one to use when we're together," she requested. "I want to have a special name like Lady Finnell does with her husband." However, the Duke responded, "My name isn't important. You can just keep calling me Jayan." Lyre then remembered that Jayan was a nickname. She had come up with it when she couldn't recall his full name. "In that case," she said, "call me my dearest." The next second, the Duke naturally used the pet name. Lyre was incredulous, such an embarrassing nickname, and the Duke managed to say it without a blush or a skipped heartbeat. Ironically, she was the one feeling embarrassed. It was then that Lyre remembered the aide who had dashed out earlier, and they kept him waiting too long. "If you're sick, Mom, you should sleep well. Remember to eat my chocolates." Okay, she hadn't realized having a sweet child could be so heartwarming. Unexpectedly, the Duke said let him wait. After their conversation, they agreed to visit Sina's grave in a few days. A few days later, the family of three set off on their journey. Young Katie wondered where they were going. His mother seemed sad. Was the person they were going to see someone troublesome, like his grandfather? No. Lyre replied, this person is very precious to me. The little boy still didn't quite understand, but he didn't question his mother further, and so the three of them arrived at their destination. Lyre looked at the place where her mother had always rested. It was clear the Duke had taken great care to maintain it beautifully. Upon seeing it, Lyre rushed towards her mother's tombstone. The Duke, understandably, gave his wife some time alone. He took Katie for a stroll in the nearby forest. Katie didn't understand. Why see someone now who they could already see? This might be a little difficult for you to understand. You're still a child after all. Katie was dissatisfied with his father treating him like a child. On the heir to the family, I can learn and understand. The Duke patted the little boy's head. That kind of reaction just proves how young you are. So when can we go back to Mother? We need to wait a little while. Mother needs some time. A few days later, Lyre finally recovered and prepared a gift for Katie. It was a cake she had made after consulting the head chef. She hoped Katie would like it, full of anticipation. Then I have something I'm curious about. Grandfather was so mean to Mother, he won't come back. Well, don't worry, he won't come to the house again. Actually, Grandfather has passed away, but Mother doesn't know yet. Let's keep it a secret from her. Katie nodded seriously. I'll keep the secret. If Mother starts hating you again for something, it'll be very difficult for me. After all, that special bird will only bring my little brothers and sisters if you two are very much in love. The Duke was taken aback. The little boy continued his serious warning. Father, if you two fight again, I won't have any siblings. The Duke finally understood. The maids must have said something. Meanwhile, the little boy continued, I've kept my promise. I hope you'll keep yours too. Just then, a light rain began to fall. Lyre rejoined her mother. Mother, it's been a long time. I have my own child now. You are always the person I love most. Now there are many people who love me, so now I'm going to live a life without regrets. I'm sorry it took me so long to visit you, but I still love you very much. More than anyone, the little boy didn't understand death, but he knew this must be someone very important to his mother. Seeing the rain getting heavier, Katie hurried over to check on his mother. He noticed her slightly red eyes, not wanting to worry her child, lied and said it was from the rain. Then let's go home quickly. All right, but before we do, can you pay your respects to her? Just say you are my dear son. Katie looked at the tombstone in confusion, but there was no one there because she's gone on a trip to a faraway star. She went to the courtyard and found the little boy there as expected. He even asked about her health when she arrived. The little boy immediately understood and began to think about what to say. Hello, I'm Katie, Mom's most beloved son. I'll become an even greater Duke than Father someday. After Katie spoke, the Duke draped a raincoat over his son. It seems my son has great ambitions, but before that, you must protect yourself. He then placed another raincoat over Lyre, asking, are you feeling any better? I'm glad we had the chance to come here together. I'm sorry I made you wait so long. From now on, I'll make sure he's the happiest person alive. You don't have to worry. Lyre watched her husband, realizing he must speak with her mother every time he visited. She reached out, taking her husband's hand and introducing him and Katie. Mother, look, this is my adorable son and this is my beloved husband. We came here together to see you today. I'm living a happy life now. I smile every day, so don't worry. Rest well, I'll come visit you often. That night back in her room, Lyre felt unusually cold. Thinking she was just tired, she quickly fell asleep. In her dream, she found herself in a land of ice and snow. Turning, she saw her long-lost locket. She chased after it, only to see her past self holding the locket. She was begging a witch to see her mother again. I'm very sorry, she's already dead. I can't do that, but I can turn back time 10 years. Lyre felt that seeing her mother again, even with time turned back, was meaningless. After sitting down, she presented the cake she had made. The little boy's eyes lit up at the sight of it. Unexpectedly, the witch called her a liar. Why would I lie? I heard the winter witch knows everything. It seems that's false. Then how about a wager? Let's see if everything is truly as you say or if you're the liar. I'll give you a new life. If it's truly as you say, then you won't lose. The people there will love you. Want to try it? Maybe you can't live with your mother, but you can live a life filled with love. Lyre finally agreed to the wager. That's wonderful, we have a bet. I'll give you a different life, but I won't erase your previous memories. To prove my omniscience and to prove that you can be happy forgetting the past, I'll give you a choice. Live a carefree and happy life or regain your memories and become Lyre again. If you still want to live as Liar, that proves I've won the bet. At that moment, Liar was certain that once she experienced this new life, she would abandon her former identity. And she firmly believed she would win. All right, then this will serve as collateral for our wager. Liar suddenly woke up from her dream. She wondered what the dream meant. If she chose to live as Liar again, what price would she have to pay? Little Katie was about to have a sister. Since that dream, Liar had been searching for information about the Winter Witch. A maid, noticing Liar spending all her time in the library, asked if there was anything she was looking for. Katie, can you stay? Unexpectedly, her son flung her hand away, yelling, I don't want a mother. He ran so fast he tripped and fell. He eagerly took a bite. The next second, his face clouded with worry. Perhaps she could help. I heard you're looking for books about the Winter Witch. Perhaps you should try the library in the basement. This was the first time Liar had heard of it. The maid explained that she'd heard about it from her mother, who had been a personal maid to the previous duke. She often saw the previous duke going down to the basement late at night. She didn't know why he went there so often, but rumor had it that the family's precious artifacts were stored there. Since it's a private library, it must contain information you won't find here. Liar agreed. This library was mostly filled with children's books, but the maid was puzzled. Why was the Duchess suddenly interested in the Winter Witch? A bold thought struck her. Could it be a way to ensure the well-being of the new little lady of the house? Liar hadn't expected such an imaginative interpretation, much like the story about the special bird she'd told Katie. After a moment's hesitation, Liar went to the Duke's office. Just as she was wondering how to broach the subject, the Duke, as if sensing her presence, opened the door. There's something I'd like to discuss with you. Do you have a moment? Under the resentful gaze of his assistant, the Duke agreed to Liar's request. The assistant could only cautiously remind him, Your Grace, we still have a lot of documents to review. Not only did the Duke delegate all his work to him, but he also proceeded to flaunt his affection in front of his single assistant. As they both waited expectantly, he declared it super gross, but upon learning his mother had made it, he began to devour it. The despairing worker could only wish them a pleasant time. The Duke carried Liar all the way to the forest, only setting her down once they arrived. We used to come here often when we were youngs. Do you remember, the air is so fresh here, can you ride a horse? Liar explained that her father hadn't allowed her to ride when she was younger. A short while later, the Duke returned with a horse and lifted Liar onto it. They rode through the forest together. The Duke promised to find time to teach Liar how to ride. Before they knew it, they arrived at the lakeside. This brought back childhood memories for Liar. They had once chased a bird so far that they missed their curfew. As they ran, the young Duke's face grew increasingly pale. Liar noticed blood staining his back. It's nothing, just an old wound that reopened. Unaware of the truth, young Liar immediately thought to tell the Duchess, but she was told that the Duchess herself was responsible for those wounds. Liar couldn't believe her own mother would do such a thing. However, since she now knew the Duke's secret, she felt obligated to share one of her own. She revealed to him that the maid was her real mother. Liar couldn't stop him. Between bites, he explained, I'm fine. Liar finally confessed to her husband about the wager with the witch. She then discovered that her husband had also paid a price to the Winter Witch. Liar hadn't forgotten their childhood promise. They would live happily ever after. After that, they never saw each other again. The Duke was filled with regret. If only he had told her everything back then, their relationship wouldn't have deteriorated so badly. Liar believed he had simply been lashing out. I regret hurting you so much back then and hurting our son when he was so young. No amount of apologies will ever be enough. The Duke quickly comforted his wife. It's all in the past, but I've been so happy lately. I really don't want this happiness to be taken away. The Duke didn't understand why his wife was worried about such a thing, because I've already ruined someone's life. Do you know anything about the Winter Witch? The Duke was surprised by his wife's sudden question. Liar decided to confess the truth. She didn't want to hide anything from him. Actually, I made a bet with the Winter Witch. I bet about whether I was lying. Have you ever considered that we might be unhappy together in the future? The Duke admitted he had never considered such a possibility because I've always wanted to live happily with you, but I know that such a future exists. I've already lived through it. I'm only eating it because I want to. In the end, neither of us had a happy ending. It ended in regret. Liar finished speaking and tensed, afraid the Duke wouldn't believe her. The next second, the Duke pulled his wife into an embrace. What was your past life like? Liar finally relaxed, certain she wouldn't face this alone. I loved you very much, but I couldn't tell you. I didn't believe I deserved happiness. The first time I saw the Winter Witch, I asked her to let me see my mother, but she can only send me back 10 years. And she thought I was lying. I didn't think I was lying, so I made a bet with her. If I lied, the Winter Witch would win. As liar, I chose to live with you and Katie to make up for my past mistakes. I can't believe I said I didn't want to live a happy life with you. I really did lie. You both mean so much to me, but since I made the bet, the witch will soon come to take me away. She won't do that. Liar assumed her husband was just speaking without thinking. I understand how you feel, but our opponent is the Winter Witch. It's truly disheartening. Isn't there any other way? The Duke suddenly changed the subject. Do you know why I became the heir to the dukedoms? Isn't it because you were born with the same abilities as the previous Duke? After finishing one piece and wiping his mouth, he demanded another. Liar looked at the little fellow across from her, touched. My mother was a maid. After she gave birth to me, she suddenly received the title of Duchess. Liar remembered that the Duchess had died from a terminal illness. Just as you thought, my mother made a bet with the Winter Witch. Her goal was to become the Duchess. Liar hadn't expected this. What was the price of her bet? It wasn't her life. Her illness was incurable. The Winter Witch didn't come to me until the day she died. She told me she was here to collect the price. The old woman was angry that my mother hadn't taken her out. In the end, she successfully defeated my father. Liar had just learned the price that Duke paid to the witch to never experience happiness. He was heartbroken. He was already so unfortunate. Why would the witch take away the happiness he had finally found? So he wouldn't let that happen again. Later, the two returned home to find an angry Katie. Where did you and father go? Why didn't you take me? Liar quickly explained to the little boy that they had just gone out for some fresh air. If we were doing something fun, we would definitely take you. If you don't believe me, you can ask father. Katie turned to his father. Tell me, where did you go? Just as mother said, we were just taking a walk nearby. This wasn't the crazy male led from the book at all. It was just a normal, sweet child. But weren't you in class? We were only gone for a little while. Don't be angry that we didn't take you. This, however, made Katie even more upset. But you take mother out every day. Don't you know I've been holding back from visiting mother because I'm waiting for that special bird? You're really too much. Hearing this, Liar was embarrassed. She blamed her husband for not explaining things clearly to their son. Then came Katie's next question. When will that special bird bring me a present? Father promised me. He said the bird would bring me a little sister. Mother also said she would give me any present I wanted. I've been looking forward to being a good older brother. Faced with her son's request for a sibling, Liar could only promise to do her best. Katie's eyes lit up. Mother, will you take care of that special bird? You must have seen it before, right? Of course, mother knows how to take care of it, but your birthday is coming soon. Let's think about what kind of dessert you want. This successfully diverted Katie's attention. Can you make me a big cake? Of course, of what he thought about how to decorate it. And before your birthday, would you like to travel south with mother? The Duke immediately spoke up. I'll make time to go too. Unexpectedly, his wife teased, I think father must be very busy. This will be a trip just for us, mother and son. This is your punishment for hiding that bird from me. Little Katie gloated from the side. Early the next morning, the Duke sought out Liar. Thank you, she thought. I'll keep trying. The next day, Liar decided to continue her plan to get closer to her husband, all for her son's sake. I found a book about the Winter Witch in the basement library. It's more detailed than the one in the fairy tale book. And if there's anything else, you can ask for my help. I'm willing to do anything for you. The Duke then left for work. Liar reluctantly bid her husband farewell. She began reading the book he brought. It recorded the witch's hobbies and personality. It seemed like it was written by a family familiar with the witch. It said she often grants other people's wishes out of boredom with life. For the witch, these were merely games. It seemed meeting her would be rather difficult. Liar clung to the hope that the witch granted wishes because she wanted to see fate completely altered. There was no use in worrying constantly. Katie's birthday was more important right now. Lost in thought, she suddenly felt tired. Unknowingly, she drifted back to that same place in her dream. Liar, long time no see, do you still remember me? Then you should know why I'm here. To find you, of course, as expected, rivals see red when they meet. Little Katie is already getting jealous. In the dream, the witch came to Liar with a necklace. So full of excitement, she knocked on the office door. The Duke's assistant opened the door. Liar knew the witch must have come for the price. Oh dear, with that expression, anyone would think I'm the villain. What I'm taking is a rightful price. With that, the witch returned the necklace to Liar, but she didn't say what the price was. She even asked Liar if she thought the price would be her current happiness. I'm here to tell you that I can't collect the prize from you yet, but I will come back for it before the end of winter. You don't need to worry too much. I'm happy to see your fate now, and I want to give you a good opportunity in return. I think you should be nicer to me. You should worry about other things more than me because your changed fate might slip away. Lyre woke up pondering the witch's final words, but in her memory there hadn't been any major upheaval in the empire. Because the Duke guarded the north, external invasions and conflicts were easily suppressed. She couldn't think of any other possibilities. She was so engrossed that she didn't hear the maid calling. Madam, I wanted to tell you the carriage is ready. Didn't you have a tea appointment with some ladies today? Lyre then remembered the appointment. She immediately asked where Katie was. Usually at this time, he would be pestering her to go along. Unexpectedly, he had already run to the carriage. Lyre cautiously approached the desk. There's something I'm not sure about. Could we talk privately? Unexpectedly, the Duke dismissed his wife with a curt. Lyre hurried outside. Sure enough, her son was already waiting at the door. Sorry, mother, I forgot to remind you. You're not angry with me, are you? Little Katie immediately turned his head and said no. Then why did you come here first? Usually you always come to find mother first. This made Katie blush, because I wanted to go quickly. Lyre immediately noticed her son's thoughts. Do you want to see Nia quickly? Seeing his thoughts exposed, little Katie frantically shook his head in denial. Trying to cover his embarrassment, he pulled his mother along. We're going to be late. Lyre couldn't help but sigh. A child's little schemes were just too adorable. In the carriage, her son remained nervous. He had promised Nia last time that he would prepare a strawberry cake for their next meeting, but this time they weren't meeting at the mansion. Then let's just meet at our house next time. Katie can give Nia the cake directly. The little fellow looked satisfied after hearing this. Then he noticed the necklace around his mother's neck. This is something very important to mother. Katie, do you want to see it? She opened the locket as she spoke. The little boy curiously asked who it was. Lyre didn't know how to explain it to her son. After all, in a child's mind, the Countess was his grandmother. I'm busy. His icy tone was like the swirling snow of winter. He added as if it wasn't clear enough, didn't you hear me? I'm busy. She could only say she would tell him when he was older, so the two made a pact. As soon as they arrived, they found Lady Finzer was already there. Katie looked around as if searching for someone. Are you looking for Nia? The little fellow immediately denied it. He even said he didn't care where she was at all. Nia isn't here yet, but Riddies is already waiting for you. Katie shyly explained he wasn't looking for Nia. Just then Riddies came over, smiling politely and greeting Lyre and Katie. Katie, however, retorted, you're greeting us before she's even here? Are you talking about me? Because Nia is coming, I was so worried, so I'm late. We haven't sparred in a long time, but let's hold back today. After all, Nia can't get hurt. Katie remembered Nia as saying how much fun she had playing with Riddies and scoffed. He then questioned Riddies about why he used her nickname. It turned out Katie had wanted to keep the heroine to himself since childhood. Before Nia arrived, the two little ones agreed to get along. Riddies also learned that Katie had already met Nia. Lyre was pleased to see the two shake hands and make peace. Just then Lady Finzer noticed a carriage arriving behind him. Then they saw a lady finder arrive with Nia. I'm so sorry we're late. Nia spent so much time choosing her dress. The little girl ran quickly to Lyre as soon as she arrived. Faced with a suddenly affectionate mother, Katie was a little flustered. You never cared before, why are you being so fake now? Please leave, being a perceptive worker, the assistant quickly offered. I'll leave right away, there's no need, return to your post. Duchess, all the dresses you gave me are so beautiful, I really couldn't decide. What do you think of this one? Lyre's inner thoughts screamed. I must make sure Katie pulls himself together, this daughter-in-law is a must. You look very beautiful like a spring flower, you look beautiful in any dress, there's no need to worry about which one to wear. Nia was very happy to hear this and praised Lyre as the most beautiful person in the world. But look over there, they've been waiting for you, Nia. With that, she hurriedly said goodbye. Nia ran off, waving to Katie and Riddies. Her clumsy appearance worried them both. They both said be careful simultaneously. Nia took 2 steps forward and landed steadily. See, I'm fine, I didn't fall. The 2 boys breathed the sigh of relief. Then Nia took both their hands. I believe the 3 of us will have a lot of fun today. She then led them off running. Meanwhile, the ladies sat down for their gathering. Lady Finzer heard that Lyre had been horseback riding recently. Yes, after my husband rode, I became quite interested as well. Lady Finer chimed in. The Duke is so thoughtful, it seems he would do anything for you. Yes, he's a very good man. Lyre blushed, causing the 2 ladies to gasp. They excitedly asked Lyre if there was anything they could help with. Seeing their enthusiasm, Liar suggested they could help prepare for Katie's birthday party. Back with the children, their discussion was also in full swing. Katie felt that Riddies was being very perfunctory in answering Nia's questions. He thought about how he had been worried about what he had said earlier. This left Liar speechless. He didn't even have time for a brief chat with his wife. Finally, she had no choice but to leave. Meanwhile, Nia was still talking about how cold it was when she left the house this morning. She quickly turned to ask Katie if he was listening, seeing Katie with crumbs all over his face. Katie replied that he was listening while wiping the stains from the corners of Nia's mouth. Is your nickname Nia? The little girl then realized she had crumbs everywhere again. Thank you. Everyone usually calls me Nia. That adorable smile instantly captured Katie's heart. He even wished he were the only one who could see it. Then he remembered what his mother had said before. If you love something, you must cherish it. Don't try to possess it. Let it have its own wings. At the time, he had asked his mother, but if it has wings, won't it fly away? Not necessarily. If you love something and give it freedom, if it comes back to you, it means it loves you too. Don't try to trap it to express your love. Give it enough security, treat it with your heart, believe that love will return to you. Katie didn't know why he thought of his mother's words at this moment. Then he heard Nia ask him to call her by her nickname, just like everyone else. The little boy instantly blushed, eager to agree, but he said no. When you become a lady who doesn't get food all over her face, then I'll call you that. Nia was instantly displeased, complaining that Katie was too harsh. The moment she stepped out, she mentally unleashed a flurry of imaginary blows on the Duke. It seemed her Duke husband wouldn't be easily won over. She'd have to find another excuse to approach him. However, Katie noticed that Riddies had no interest in their conversation, but this was better. He only wanted Nia to see his abilities. Liar had only been out for a while, but something significant had happened at the Duke's mansion. During the day, the little ones were still discussing what to play. I'll go to the garden first to see the new flowers. Then I'll taste the dessert cookies and drink milk. The flowers are very beautiful and the cookies are delicious. That's why I like coming to Riddies' house, and last time I even touched a horse. Hearing Nia's excited account, Katie turned to ask Riddies, I just need to look at Nia because she's cute like right now. At this moment, Nia's eyes lit up as she looked at the strawberry cake that was brought out. I want to eat this super big strawberry cake for my birthday, but the pie I ate at the Duke's mansion last time was also good. Foodie, Nia turned and asked Riddies when his birthday was. Learning it was in the summer, she turned her hopeful gaze to Katie. My birthday is in winter and it's coming soon. Nia was very excited after hearing this and couldn't wait to attend the party. That means I can eat the same big strawberry pie as last time. Katie also promised to send them both invitations. On the other side, the mothers were also discussing the birthday party. Ladyfins are thought that many people should be invited to the birthday party. The next day, Liar was in her room, pondering which fairy tale to read to her son that afternoon. Just then, a maid handed her a letter. Lady Finer strongly agreed. She had invited many people to Nia's birthday, and Nia was very happy. If you need it, we can help you contact other ladies. But Liar firmly rejected the proposal because little Katie didn't like interacting with people he wasn't familiar with. In that case, at least we should attend. I think that's a good idea. After all, the children get along very well. Of course, Katie would definitely like a small party with friends. The two ladies would also prepare things for the children to play with. It's so nice to have this kind of peaceful life lately. This time of year is usually very noisy. Liar asked, confused because our territory is often disputed. Thanks to the Duke, the territory doesn't fall into chaos. I'm grateful to have him protect us. That's why we have the opportunity to enjoy a leisurely afternoon tea. Liar also thought about how the Duke might be facing disputes. He often went out on expeditions. She used to think it was normal for the Duke to be away frequently. He hadn't even seen her off once, but the Duke still did his best to protect her. Now she needed to do something to protect him. The other two ladies were also worried about the situation at the border. I can't bear the thought of my beloved husband getting hurt. Liar now shared the same sentiment as the three of them fell silent. A wave of melancholy settled over them. Opening it, she discovered it was a thank you note for attending a child's birthday party. Liar was puzzled. Hadn't she declined all the previous invitations? Liar's fear intensified. The price of the winter, which had spoken of, might be related to the Duke. That's why she was especially worried when he went away. Then Lady Finer suggested perhaps we could embroider something as a gift. I'm sure the Duke would appreciate it. That's a wonderful idea. But what should I embroider? Both ladies answered in unison. Anything made with love will do. It will be a symbol of your love for each other. Yes, I'll give it some thought. That evening, the two returned to the Duke's mansion. Katie suddenly asked Lyre, "How did you and father get married?" Lyre was taken aback. Had her son been playing with his friends? Why would he ask this? I remember what mother said when I was playing. You told me if you truly love something, you can't cage it but should let it fly freely. If it loves me, it will come back to me. I want to know if father did the same. Lyre told Katie her story. She had thought marriage was imprisonment. Later, she realized that the Duke had always been silently protecting her with open arms. After listening, Katie hoped that one day he could also become someone's safe haven. Of course, everyone loves Arcady. Just like that, they arrived at the entrance of the mansion. But the scene before her made Lyre's heart pound. The mansion's servants were all waiting at the entrance, their faces grim. My lady, I have something important to tell you. The Duke is about to leave for another expedition. Suddenly, she remembered the exasperated groan she'd let out when she'd forgotten about it after being interrupted by the maid. A birthday party, unexpectedly, the maid she'd overheard suddenly became enthusiastic. Are we preparing a birthday party for the young master? Although it's still early, I'll do my best. Lyre offered her blessings for her husband's safe return, seeing the serious expressions of the servants at the door. Lyre asked what had happened. The maid finally revealed the Earl an accident on his way here. If they had an accident, does that mean he's injured? Seeing the maid's hesitation. Lyre remembered the same incident happening in her past life. The outcome had been their deaths, noticing Katie listening intently beside her. She didn't want to discuss such matters in front of her child. The maid was likely hesitant for the same reason, so Lyre decided to take Katie inside first. I understand, I'll speak with the Duke later. Later that night, after finishing his work, the Duke found his wife still awake. Lyre explained that she couldn't sleep. Is it because of the Earl? Lyre nodded. When I heard the news of the Earl's death, I didn't feel any sadness. Isn't that strange? But I still pretended to be a grieving mother. I didn't even tell Katie about his grandfather's passing. I thought it would be strange for a child to see a parent who wasn't saddened by a death. It's not strange, the Duke comforted his wife. Katie probably understands. In his eyes, the hero was a bad person who hurt his mother. You don't need to grieve for someone who hurt you. Lyre knew the Duke was responsible. I suspected as much. Because the Earl died in a carriage accident, the Duke confessed, I didn't want him to hurt you anymore, Lyre. Do you think what I did was despicable? Marquis Fersen, Lyre mused. The name seemed familiar. She suddenly recalled the blonde, handsome man from the book who worked at the Land Management Bureau. Despicable, of course not. I just didn't want you to dirty your hands. I truly hated the Earl and his wife. After my mother's death, they forced me to act as if nothing had happened. Every day I wished for their deaths, yet I was terrified. Because of that fear, I never dared to defy them. I was like a marionette, letting them control me. How much more blood will stain your hands for me? Don't worry, just seeing your smile. I could do anything, but I don't want you to get hurt because of me. It's all right, I'm strong enough. You go on these expeditions every year around this time. Each time you return, you act as if nothing happened, but you must have faced dangerous moments. And now you're leaving again soon, aren't you? To protect me and our territory, I have no other choice. As a man and a husband, protecting you is my responsibility, so don't worry, I'll return safely. The next day, the maid chattered excitedly in the room, saying that the Earl had finally received his just desserts. Is it appropriate to speak of the deceased this way? One whispered, actually, I'm more worried about how the Duchess will take it. I didn't expect the Duchess to still worry about him. Kind people like you should live long lives. But if it was the Land Management Bureau, wasn't that the one Katie killed? Lyre confessed, I was happy when I heard the news, but I couldn't show it. He was my father after all, but let's forget about him now. I already have people who are far more important to me. A week later, it was time for the Duke's departure. The maids and Katie adored the handkerchief Lyre had embroidered. They believed the Duke would be overjoyed to receive it. Katie, a little jealous, declared that he wanted one too. By then, the Duke, fully equipped, emerged. Are you here to see me off? Both answered in unison, of course, I'll be back as soon as possible, so don't worry. Lyre then presented the embroidered handkerchief. The Duke was stunned. To celebrate our little one's birthday, Lyre explained, I prepared a special gift. And one for my husband who's about to embark on an expedition. The Duke gazed at the handkerchief with delight. I pictured a beautiful, majestic wolf in the snow. It resembles you because you're more important to me than anything, so I'm giving you this handkerchief. This way, you'll know someone is waiting for you at home. Don't get hurt. You must come back safely. The Duke stared at the handkerchief. Speechless, Liar worried, I thought you didn't like it, I prepared for so long, thinking every day about what design would suit you. You mean you thought of me every day? Then I'll treat this as a family heirloom, passed down through generations. Liar blushed, why would you make this a family heirloom? Suddenly, Liar felt an indescribable emotion towards her son. Surely Katie wouldn't kill him now? That's right, I'll definitely raise him to be a normal child. Because it's filled with my wife's love and care, it's worth preserving. Little Katie then stepped forward and hugged his father. Don't worry about mother, just come back safe, I will, my family is waiting for me. A few days later, Katie suddenly changed his mind about having a birthday party. Liar's attempts to persuade him were futile. Katie remained firm in his decision. What changed your mind? You were so excited about the birthday cake before. It turned out little Katie wanted both his parents present to celebrate with him, but father is still away. Liar finally understood her son's feelings. Katie, I understand how you feel, but I'm sure your father would want you to have a wonderful birthday party surrounded by everyone. But father will be sad that he missed it. Well, Katie, if that's your decision, there's nothing I can do. In that case, what would you like to do on your birthday? Or where would you like to go? I can take you anywhere. It's okay if we don't have a big party, we should still celebrate. Your father would be disappointed if you didn't do anything for your birthday just because he's away. Then perhaps we could invite Riddies and Nia to celebrate with us. Of course, it seems you've become very good friends. The cake won't be as big, but I'll make sure it's special. Meanwhile, the Duke was still waiting for his wife. He'd become rather strange after the red carriage incident. Before she had always been cold and distant. Suddenly, the little boy hesitated, fidgeting slightly. He shyly told Liar, lots of strawberries on the cake, please. On the day of Katie's birthday, the entire mansion bustled with activity. A maid directed the others, decorate carefully. This is the young Duke's 6th birthday, we can't make any mistakes. Liar came out to inquire about the cake. We're being very careful, Duchess. It'll be ready soon, the young Duke is already up, he said he was looking for you. Liar decided to find her son first. She wanted to be the first to wish him a happy birthday. Last birthday, their relationship hadn't been this close. So much had changed in just a year. Little Katie came running from down the hall. Liar placed the birthday hat on his head. The party hasn't started yet. Why are you wishing me happy birthday now, mother? Because I wanted to be the first. Are the preparations ready? Almost, let's get you changed before the guests arrive. I have a special outfit for you. Katie's eyes lit up, I can't wait to see it. Clearly, Liar and the maids were just as excited to see him in it. He said angrily and ran off, leaving Liar dumbfounded. Even that night, she was still thinking about the events of the day, wondering if Katie's injury was better. She had never smiled at him, but recently his wife had been finding all sorts of excuses to see him, always with a smile on her face. After Katie changed, the maid showered him with compliments, but the little boy didn't seem pleased. Mother, why did you make me wear this? Katie's birthday party finally began. His friends arrived, offering their birthday wishes. Katie, still unhappy with his outfit, stood at the door to greet them. Seeing her son's pout, Liar offered an amused apology. Do you really mean that, Mother? You look suspicious. Well, it's my birthday, so I'll wear your present. I'll make sure to choose something more to your liking next time. Thank you for wearing it today, even if you don't like it. Katie stuck out his lower lip. Don't do this again, Mother. A maid announced the arrival of the guests' carriages. Lady Finsar and Lady Finer arrived together. Riddies and Nia followed close behind. Welcome, I've prepared lots of treats. Are you ready to have fun with Katie? The children excitedly agreed. Nia, however, was more direct. She rushed forward and gave Katie a big hug. Happy birthday, Katie's face flushed crimson. You surprised me, maybe step back a little. Nia didn't budge. Why, I'm happy to be here to celebrate your birthday. Riddies stepped forward, presenting his gift. Nia suddenly remembered she had left her gift in the carriage. She was disappointed she couldn't give it to Katie directly. He wondered if she would seek him out with a smile today as well. He was so lost in thought that he almost stained his book with ink. Katie took the gifts back to his room. Riddies finally noticed Katie's attire. I'm curious about something, he began. What's with that strange outfit you're wearing? Katie blushed, unsure how to explain. Nia eagerly raised her hand. I know, aren't those angel wings? They suit you perfectly, Riddies teased. If I'd known you liked wings, I would have gotten you some as a present. The three children began to playfully tussle in the hall. Lady Finzer quickly took out her memory orb. Liar and Lady Finer watched, slightly concerned about whether the children would get along. It's all right, Lady Finer reassured her. They're just children, I'm sure this will be a very lively party. Soon it was time for dinner. Everyone offered Katie their birthday wishes. Liar reminded her son to respond to everyone's greetings. Katie thought for a moment before speaking. Thank you all for your kind wishes. I haven't always been my best in front of you. I'll try harder in the future. The servants murmured amongst themselves, impressed by the young duke's maturity. Thank you, Redis and Nia, for coming. His love-struck demeanor startled his assistant. Of course we came, happy birthday. Nia's eyes lit up when she saw Katie's birthday cake. Do you like strawberry cake too? This one looks delicious. Katie thought of his favorite walnut pie, but remembering that Nia loved strawberry cake, he shyly said, strawberries are my favorite. Then we have a lot in common. I absolutely love strawberries. I've prepared lots of strawberry cake. You can enjoy it at the party. This caught Reddest attention. Katie, don't tell me you have a crush on Nia. Little Katie's only wish was for his father to return safely. Riddies realized what Katie was thinking. He hadn't expected them to have the same taste. Liar asked Katie if he wanted to make a wish on the candles. Katie said he wanted to wake. I want to ask you a favor, Mother, is that okay? Of course, I'll listen to anything you have to say. It's not a big deal. I just want you to blow out the candles with me later tonight. Liar hadn't expected such a simple request. She couldn't bear the thought of Katie reliving his lonely past. She agreed to blow out the candles with him later. Katie will blow out the candles later. Let's get ready to eat now. I hope everyone enjoys the party. Madam seems to be taking longer than usual with her medication. A few moments later, everyone began praising the dinner. Lady Finzer took out her memory orb. She had been recording each of the children since they started eating. Lady Finer watched Nia's table manners. She mused that although her daughter was a year older than Katie and Riddies, she still acted like a child. She's still just a child. She's doing very well. Riddies and Katie, on the other hand, never want to be outdone by each other. They're so careful even when they eat. Liar agreed with Lady Fencer. They're both friends and rivals. She regretted not being able to record the children's adorable moments. That's such a shame. Katie is cuter today than ever. Lady Finder took out a memory orb she had prepared earlier. That's why I brought you this gift. Liar was surprised and delighted. She hadn't expected to receive a memory orb. Now she could record all of Katie's precious moments. Evening soon arrived, and the two ladies prepared to depart. Katie was ready to blow out the candles with his mother. It's still early. We can take our time, Liar said gently. But I don't want to miss making my wish, Katie replied earnestly. All right then, let's make a wish now. Gazing at the cake, Katie closed his eyes and made his wish with utmost sincerity. Please let my father return home safely and let us travel to the warm south afterwards. Liar was touched by Katie's heartfelt wish. I'll go check on her unexpectedly. The Duke himself stood up, claiming the room was stuffy and he needed some air. He left his unfortunate assistant to deal with a mountain of paperwork. Mother, you should say happy birthday, Katie reminded her. You're right, Liar smiled. Happy birthday, my dear son. Meanwhile, in his camp, the Duke was strategizing his next move. The enemy hasn't made a single move all day, he observed to his advisor. Does that mean it's some unknown entity acting unilaterally to invade us? Yes, my lord, I suspect it might be a political faction that holds a grudge against you. They must be the ones instigating this war. The Duke couldn't understand. Just because his bloodline wasn't pure, he was constantly deemed a traitor. His mother's legacy had brought him nothing but pain. Why did everyone want him dead? He only wanted to protect his lands and his family. The Duke suddenly realized he couldn't prolong this any longer. If they attempt to invade, we will show no mercy. If they're willing to trade their lives for mine, then they will pay the price. Katie was about to have a little sister. Lyra had been feeling unusually tired lately. Despite going to bed early every night, she felt strangely fatigued. She suspected it was due to the recent stress. I heard Katie has a new tutor, she remarked to her maid. Yes, my lady. The young master's previous tutor is traveling south for the winter, so we found a new one. Lyra inquired about the new tutor. The maid hesitated. Honestly, he seems kind enough, but there's something peculiar about him. She quickly added, but please don't worry, my lady. The staff all seem to welcome him. At the door, he paused to offer a helpful tip. If you're looking for madam, she's often in the courtyard. The maid's words, however, had piqued Lyra's concern. You're the staff member I trust the most. I expect you to be completely honest with me. If you have any suspicions, stay close to Katie and observe this new tutor. The maid accepted the task. After the maid left, Lyra quickly drifted off to sleep. In her dream, she saw her mother again. Lyra confided her worries to her mother. She was deeply concerned about the Duke's safety and feared the witch's price. She also expressed her desire for a daughter. She vowed to shower her daughter with the same boundless love her mother had given her. Her mother wiped away Liar's tears. I'll be seeing you soon, she whispered. Liar dismissed the dream, attributing it to her longing for her mother. Just then, the maid returned with a bowl of assorted sour fruits. Liar ate the fruit while asking about the tutor. Perhaps I was overthinking it at first, the maid admitted. He doesn't treat the young master like other tutors do. He treats him like a child his age. Liar didn't understand what she meant. Well, although the young master is still young, he is the heir to the duke. Most tutors are very formal with him. Despite the maid's reassurances, Liar remained uneasy. She decided to see for herself. She had been curious to see Katie during his lessons anyway. This would be a good opportunity to observe the new tutor as well. As soon as his lessons finished, Katie rushed to find his mother. Have a wonderful time. Just as he neared the library. Mama, hold out your hand, he requested. Puzzled, Liar extended her hand. Unexpectedly, her son slipped a bracelet onto her wrist. I made it myself. A bracelet? Did you make this, Katie? It's beautiful. I'll wear it always. Thank you. When father returns, I'm going to show him. Now may I watch your lessons, Katie? Katie readily agreed, beaming with pride, and you have to praise me when I do well. That afternoon, Liar sat and observed her son's lessons. Katie focused intently on the words in his book. His concentrated expression was utterly adorable. The first lesson concluded quickly, and it was time for the new tutor's class. The new tutor, a woman, introduced herself as Belle. She seemed like a kind young woman, just as the maid had described, but her earrings caught Liar's attention. To secure her position at the Duke's mansion, Belle had accepted a gift. This aroused Liar's suspicion. He heard his son yell liar, then came his wife's voice. Katie, why are you calling mommy a liar? However, seeing Belle's friendly demeanor, Liar reasoned that she was simply being overly cautious due to the maid's words. Just then Belle exclaimed, "Oh, you're so adorable today." Realizing her impropriety, she quickly apologized to Liar. No need to apologize, Liar reassured her. My son is so charming, it's hard not to say so. Yes, he's both adorable and talented. I hope to continue being his tutor even after winter ends. Liar was pleased that someone appreciated Katie so much. She also noticed Belle's reddened, trembling hands. Belle explained that she had received a recommendation letter and immediately seized the opportunity to work at the mansion, not realizing how cold the winters would be. Liar immediately instructed a maid to fetch a warm garment. She assumed Belle must be cold from being underdressed. A moment later, Belle was wrapped in a warm coat. She expressed her gratitude for Liar's kindness, then she began Katie's lesson. Observing their warm interaction, Liar decided her worries were unfounded. That evening, as Belle walked home, heavy snow began to fall. She thought to herself that if it weren't for the Duchess's kindness, she would surely have fallen ill. Just as she entered her home, she saw a red-haired woman waiting for her. I was on my way home and thought I'd stop by, the woman said. I recommended you for the position at the Duke's mansion. You always go to him first. Didn't you say I was the most important? Do you like being with father that much? So naturally, I wanted to check if you were settling in all right. This must be your first time in this region. Yes, the Duchess is so thoughtful. She even arranged this lodging for me. She came to the young Duke's room during the lesson today. She's so beautiful and kind. It's no wonder the young Duke is such a well-behaved child. Usually children cry and fuss during lessons. They even hit me sometimes when they don't want to study. I was so nervous when I met the young Duke, but he didn't complain at all and was eager to begin the lesson. He even mentioned wanting to see his mother afterwards. Belle then showed Katie the gift she had brought. In the East, you see bracelets like this often. They give them to people they cherish. Katie took note of this, a thoughtful expression on his face. After the lesson, he asked Belle to teach him how to make the bracelet. My mother is the most precious person to me. I saw the Duchess wearing the bracelet today, young master. Thank you so much for recommending me for this position. The red-haired woman suddenly burst into maniacal laughter. That reminds me of a rather unpleasant experience. She had once spoken cruelly to Liar. Even my apologies in the end weren't accepted, and now look where I am. Recovering herself, the woman quickly took hold of Belle's hands. I'm so sorry I frightened you just now. You're trembling. Belle looked at her with a lingering fear. I was just a little cold. Overhearing this, the Duke couldn't contain himself. However, his joy was short-lived. He then heard Liar say, of course, being with Katie is best. It's hard to get used to the cold here, but you must really love those earrings. After all, they were a precious gift from you. You also told me I had to dress appropriately for the Duke's mansion. But everything else I own isn't very valuable, so thank you for giving me something so precious. I hope you don't get dismissed after the winter. I have one more thing to ask you about the Duke who went on the expedition. Do you know when he'll be back? As long as I'm with Mama, little Katie can go anywhere. Faced with the red-haired woman's question, Belle didn't know how to answer. It's a bit difficult for a tutor like you to know such things. I'll be going now. I hope you'll have an answer prepared for me next time. Meanwhile, Liar's assistant, while delivering documents, noticed her distress. She wanted to go out with Katie, but aside from visiting other nobles, Liar rarely left the mansion alone. Considering the recent intrusions, the assistant advised Liar to stay within the mansion walls. However, if you really want to go out, I can help find some safe places. So Liar entrusted this task to her assistant. A few days later, everyone received photos and descriptions of various locations. It seemed their relationship was even worse than she had anticipated, but sudden closeness would indeed make her son panic. She needed to take things slowly. The little fellow still pouted, unsatisfied. Liar took her son's hand. Actually, I wanted to ask Katie, would you like to go with Mommy to Marky Ferson's birthday party? After looking them over, the maid strongly recommended a particular place to Liar. Katie immediately declared, as long as I'm with Mama, I can go anywhere. Seeing so many places, Belle couldn't help but sigh. She had assumed the north was all cold and darkness, but she hadn't realized there was so much to see. She felt she wasn't qualified to help Liar choose a travel destination. You don't need to feel grateful for anything I do. It all comes from the heart and is freely given. I don't expect anything in return. You just need to be a good teacher to Katie. Liar then confirmed with Katie, if there's anywhere you'd like to go, be sure to tell me. Please, let's go to Central Street. Is there a reason you're recommending this place so strongly? The maid explained it's a very beautiful and charming place. Children love to go there too because there are so many interesting things to see. So, madam, you must go there. Katie chimed in, hoping to make fun memories there with his mother. I want to go to the place Daisy recommended. Since her son wanted to go, Liar naturally agreed. However, Katie still wanted to go with his father next time. Of course, father will be back safe and sound soon. We can go together next year. This time, let's just go and explore this place properly. Belle knew that Katie was worried about his father. Does that mean we have to bring a present? Hearing her affirmative answer, tears welled up in his eyes. Belle then took out a hair clip. My father taught me from a young age that when you receive help from others, you should repay them. So I brought this hair clip with a purple crystal in the center, just like your eyes. I know it's not anything valuable, but I would be happy if you would accept it. Liar knew that Belle's sincerity was more valuable than any expensive gift, so she accepted the present and immediately put the hair clip in her hair. Katie, do you think this suits me? Katie, ever supportive, replied, Mama looks beautiful in anything. That evening, Belle returned home happily, only to find the red-haired woman had come again. So she recounted the days of aunts. The Duchess and the young master are going to Central Street. But what Belle didn't know was that as she spoke, a man behind her was watching her with predatory eyes. In the next second, the man struck her on the head. We need to move forward with the plan to give Mother a birthday surprise. Young Katie was kidnapped by someone with ulterior motives. Belle woke up with a throbbing headache. She suddenly realized her hands and feet were bound. The red-haired woman was nearby, plotting something. The man is a bit concerned about Katie's abilities. I heard he's already awakened the air skills. You're actually worried about a 6-year-old child? What can a child who only cries for his mother do? The man still believed it was better to be cautious, but the red-haired woman had lost her patience. She couldn't wait to see Liar begging on her knees. You never got me a birthday present. This triggered a memory from the original Liar. The tutor we sent to the Duke's mansion has been gathering information through her earrings. She's been biding her time until now. This is the perfect opportunity for revenge. Hearing this, Belle realized they had been using her to steal information from the Duke's family. Seeing this, the red-haired woman ruthlessly ripped off Belle's earrings. I help you find a job. We've helped each other. Thanks to you, I can get revenge with my darling. We're going to start a new life. We need money first. I'm tired of this pathetic life, so we plan to sell the Duke's heir. Meanwhile, Liar was very worried about Belle. She hadn't heard from her since receiving a letter saying she had a bad cold. The maid had even sent a doctor, but they couldn't reach her. She must be suffering, being sick all alone in a foreign land. There was simply no way to find her. These past few days, Katie had also developed a fever from his strenuous training. Liar couldn't help but sigh at how mature her son was. It seemed their planned trip to the square would have to be postponed. However, the little one was already prepared. As soon as Liar arrived, she saw her son ready to go. Mother, we're going out today, right? Didn't we agree to go to the square today? Seeing her excited son, Liar couldn't refuse and told him to come home immediately if he felt unwell. The little one happily agreed. A short while later, they arrived at the square. Seeing the crowded square, Liar told Katie to hold her hand tightly. But young Katie had other plans. Before they left, the maid had reminded him that Duchess's birthday is coming up soon. How about buying her a present as a surprise? On his birthday, the little boy only wanted a birthday wish from his mother. She even suggested having the knights hide her while he went to buy the gift. Katie looked ahead thoughtfully. Liar mistakenly thought her son was interested in the hat shop ahead and suggested they go inside to look. Unexpectedly, all the cute hats inside seemed to suit the little fellow. He looked adorable in every single one, remembering the maid's words, Katie immediately asked his mother to get him the fluffy hat inside. He then took the opportunity to call for a guard and set off. Unexpectedly, the guard didn't keep up and Katie quickly left him behind. In the next moment, the little one was scooped up by a man. His consciousness gradually faded. No one expected the power of a mother's love to be so strong. After Katie was taken by the villain, Liar was still completely unaware, picking out hats. She finally found a fluffy chick hat. Imagining it on her son's head, she turned out Katie tried on, but she couldn't find the little fellow anywhere. After asking the knights, she learned he had gone shopping to buy her a birthday present, no less. So she decided to pretend she didn't know and wait for the surprise. She also bought Katie mini gifts, but even after a long while, the little fellow still hadn't returned. But he was met with indifference. Just then she saw a knight rushing towards her. He delivered the terrible news. The young duke had been taken by someone unknown. Liar immediately summoned all the knights to blockade the square. They had to find her child at once. She herself ran through the square searching. She berated herself for letting go of his hand. What if the witch's price was Katie? Suddenly, a fire flared in a corner of the square. Liar ran towards it, thinking it must be a signal from Katie. But it was a trap set by the villains. Moments later, Liar was brought to a small hut. She discovered that the red-haired woman who kidnapped Katie was the overweight woman from the party. Without a word, the woman stepped on Liar. The little fellow was distraught at the sight. Liar begged the red-haired woman to spare Katie. It's not the Duchess who's valuable, it's the heir. Does it hurt? Liar, watching your beloved child disappear before your eyes, it hurts so much I feel like I'm dying. Are you happy now? Liar cried out in anguish. The red-haired woman burst into laughter. Revenge is so boring, but I have to thank Belle, that foolish tutor. She hadn't realized the original Liar had been so cruel to her child. Just remembering it was heartbreaking. Liar tried her best to soothe Katie. I'm sorry, Mommy shouldn't have treated you like that. Belle, Liar was confused. How did she know Belle? The red-haired woman didn't bother explaining and continued to cruelly torment Liar. Just then the man returned and stopped her. He wanted to leave with Katie immediately. The little fellow looked at his mother lying on the ground. He burst into tears. Liar could only watch helplessly as her child was carried away, just like how her mother had watched her. She could only pray, save my child. Suddenly the hair clip she wore began to glow. The ropes binding her loosened. Both were astonished that Liar could use magic. Katie was pulled back to Liar's side by the magic. After checking that the little fellow was unharmed, Liar prepared to leave with Katie immediately. But seeing the injuries his mother had sustained, Katie mumbled, "It's all my fault." Liar noticed her son's hands growing hot. "It's all because I acted on my own. I was told to listen to Mother, now I'm a bad child. Mother will surely test me again." Liar quickly tried to comfort her son, but Katie couldn't hear anything now. "I'll never leave you alone again." It took a lot of effort to calm him down. "Should we have a grand birthday party for our Katie?" The flames around him began to rage. "I didn't protect Mother." The little one's first outburst was to protect his mother. He believed his mother's injuries were his fault, so he enveloped them both in flames. "I will never forgive those who hurt Mother." The room was engulfed in flames. Just then the knights arrived at the hut.